for developers and contractors for affordable housing and community development. And then about 5 years ago, we started making small business loans. We make small business loans to startups from 10 to 50,000, and for existing businesses up to 150,000. Our program is designed to help folks who can't get help anywhere else. For example, our small business loans in general do not require collateral. We don't have a hard and fast cutoff number for credit score. We work with you beginning to end and even during the life of the loan to make sure everything goes smoothly instead of requiring collateral or a high credit score. Instead of requiring collateral or a high credit score, we do require that all of our small business borrowers participate in a free small business training session or training program. It's free, it's one-on-one. We meet you where you are, and we're result oriented. We just help you pull together a business plan, financials, etc. So you can put your best foot forward at the loan committee. So as part of our ongoing program of supporting our existing clients and our applicants, we do a quarterly webinar that covers topics of interest to small businesses. And we are really excited about today's seminar. So we're looking forward to it. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. And I will turn it over to Samantha. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me. I know we are at lunchtime and this is virtual. So if you are like me, I'm usually the delinquent person on virtual webinars. I usually never show my camera. I'm eating, I'm driving, I'm doing all the things. So, so I understand if you are not able to turn your camera on, but if you are, I do like to make my sessions interactive. So I would hate to just be talking to you all for the next 90 minutes because nobody wants to hear all of that. So I'm going to be asking some questions of you all. So even if you're able to turn on your camera, please do. If you're able to interact with us or type into the chat, that would be excellent. All right, so our topic for today is all about personal branding. So I am assuming that you all are showing up today because you are looking for a way or ways to take your personal brand to the next level. So I hope I can see the chat. I would love to get to know a little bit more about you all. I would love to know if you can type in the chat just what your business is or your line of work. So even if you are not a full-time entrepreneur, if you are doing a little of both, just let me know in the chat what line of work you're in, what industry you're in, because as we are going through, we can get a little bit prescriptive based on those specific industries. So feel free to type those into the chat. All right, so while we are doing that, I'm going to just introduce a little bit about myself. David did share that I am the founder and CEO of MissionKey Communications, and I do have a couple of a little introduction slide about me in here, and just how we're actually going to come back to this because I just asked you all to type something different in the chat. So please let me know what industries you're from, and then I'll do a small introduction, and then I'll come back to the icebreaker. So I am Samantha. This is my family. I put my parents here, my siblings here, and the reason that I like to start introducing them when I'm talking about just my own journey into personal branding, communications, public relations, is because my family really instilled in me very early a love for storytelling. So when I was young, my mom actually showed me a video not too long ago of me at 6 years old making a full production, a full Christmas production in my parents' basement because I just loved drama and stories, and I was always writing things and creating things myself just because that was what I like to do for fun. So instead of watching television, I was usually writing or making some kind of production or play. So I just really like to show my family because they are a primary reason that I am in the line of work that I am in today. And these are just some of the logos of some of the media where we have gotten clients placed as an agency. So I'm definitely proud to be able to have both local and national media opportunities that we secured for clients. And personal branding is very highly connected to media. So I don't know if any of you all are looking to get featured on television, on radio, or on podcasts, on digital platforms. So personal branding also does tie very heavily into that. And so that's one of the things we're going to get into today. All right, so I think we have some answers in the chat. Let's see where people are from. All right, realtor and residential property specialist, excellent. Laundry and dry cleaning, esteem matters, skincare, makeup, and beard care. All right, and workshop facilitator and film. Wow, so we have a variety of different industries here, which is really exciting. And there's some people I know in the chat, so thank you all so much for joining and coming in today. So yes, we will definitely touch on things that can apply across all of these industries. So one thing that I see right away is that everyone here is in a service-based industry in some way. So you are providing a service to a customer, and they typically, one of the things that will influence their buying decisions is getting to know a little bit more about the person behind the company. So hopefully this workshop will give you some new ways to think about ways that you can share more of your story and more of your journey with your customers, because it will help to just increase their desire to purchase from you. All right, so our first question, which was our icebreaker, I'm going to go back to that. And I want to start with this question. When people see me, I want them to know blank. So when people see me, I want them to know blank. And I want to start with this question because this is really the core of where we will start when we're thinking about our personal brand. So when people see me, I want them to know. So I'll say when people see me, I want them to know that I am enthusiastic, that I am passionate about the work that I do, and that I am a communications expert. So those are three things that I want people to see when they look at me. Does anyone else want to share something that they see? All right, so while we're doing that, I'm going to share our goals for today. So today we're going to understand personal branding, especially in today's changing environment. Then we're going to learn 3 core elements of a successful personal brand, and then have opportunities to evaluate our current brand, both our brand strengths and opportunities. All right, so let's see what we have in the chat. Let's see. When people see me, I want them to know God, love, passion, and exquisite care. Excellent. Mina says, I am a global citizen. All right. And David says, dependable. And Rakia says that I am knowledgeable, trustworthy, and an excellent person to work with for all things residential property related. Love that. Excellent. And if there's anyone in the chat, if you are not able to answer right away, definitely feel free to just chime in when you can, and I will keep checking this and read the other answers. All right, Lorraine says authentic, caring, passionate, and honest. Excellent. Yeah, so these are all characteristics that we can express through our personal brand. Because one of the things that sometimes people ask is, do I have a personal brand? Like if I'm not an Instagram influencer, or if I'm not a social media star, does that mean that I don't have a personal brand? Or if I'm not a LinkedIn top voice, does that mean that I don't have a personal brand? And the answer is that all of us do have a personal brand. The difference is, what is the strength of our personal brand. And so the workshop today, we are going to talk about 3 elements that we can intentionally build upon to increase the strength of our personal brand. So we do all have brands because, as people know who we are. They know, they might know a little bit about what we do, but they know about our personality, right? So we do have a personal brand that is out there, but it might not be the personal brand that we want to emphasize, or it might not be the specific attributes that we want people to know. And so one of the things that contributes to building a strong personal brand and an intentional brand is really evaluating and saying, how am I showing up as this person that I want other people to know me as? And if you have questions, definitely feel free to drop those in as well. I'll be answering them as we go along. All right, so can we get some definitions going of what a personal brand is? So I already shared that we all have a personal brand. So it's not a matter if we do or if we don't. It doesn't depend on the amount of social media followers you have or if you're a LinkedIn top voice. So what do we think is a personal brand? If it's not any of those things, what are the things that make up a personal brand?
I'll jump out there. I'll say your everyday actions, what you do on a daily basis, and how you're seen.
That's good. What you do on a daily basis and how you're seen, that's excellent. Anyone else? How you make people feel, yes, that's a huge element of your personal brand. And one more, let's see if we can get one more. Yes, characteristics of the owner, habits, customer service with people in daily passing. Yes, all of those things are things that contribute to your personal brand. So I've come up with my own personal definition of personal brand, just based on my knowledge, my experience over the years. And so how I like to define personal brand is that special mix of your knowledge, skills, ability, and your personality that distinguish you from everyone else. Your knowledge, skills, ability, and personality that distinguished you from everyone else. Yes, Lorraine says how you show up. Yes, so if you need a short and sweet tagline to remember what your personal brand is, I love that, Lorraine. How you show up. And so that's how you're showing up in your habits, your speech, your actions, even your attire has some influence on your personal brand. And so what we want to do is be intentional and purposeful about cultivating a personal brand that aligns with what we want people to see and people to know. So we don't want people to make assumptions, their own assumptions, right? We want to influence how we want to be seen. So thinking about, okay, what are the things that I can do on a daily basis that show that I'm respectable, that show that I am dependable, that show that I am a confident person, that shows that I am a warm and engaging person. How can I exhibit that on a daily basis? The expertise that I have. Do people know that I'm in this industry? Do people know that I'm in this line of work? Do I, find ways to present or speak about a certain topic? When I do post on social media, am I incorporating any of that into what I share? So yes, all of that can be summed up in how you show up. Ooh. All right. So one of the challenges of a personal brand is that we are really socialized to be the same. And as much as we talk about, be your authentic self, be who you are, all of that, like really innately, none of us as human beings, we don't enjoy being the different person because historically we are socialized to be creatures who want to feel safe, loved, and secure, right? So usually safety, love, and security usually means that you are being like the people who are around you, or being like the people who are in a particular community. And as humans and as society, we have developed things that we consider normal, right? And we consider things that are safe, or things that are, that feel familiar to us. And so I like to use this example because because it really shows the challenge of being different. So most of these little ladybug creatures, they all look the same. They're all in a pack. They're all doing the same thing. They look the same, right? And the one ladybug that is different has no one around them that looks like them. And sometimes, building your personal brand and taking that journey, it's really a leadership journey, because you are making an intentional decision to maybe be different than the people who are around you, the people who are might be still hiding. If everyone can mute if you're not talking right now, that would be great, because we have a little bit of background noise. So, yeah, so one of the challenges is, finding that courage to stand out and show up, right? So, how many of you all know public speaking is still one of the top fears among every fear that you can imagine? It is even more feared than people fear of death, which is really wild to think about, right? So, even taking a step to speak publicly, or to speak on social media, or speak on a webinar, just that step alone distinguishes you from so many other people in the population who are afraid to show up in that way. So really making a decision to be intentional about your personal brand does demonstrate leadership. And that was what that slide was. Okay, great. All right, so I'm gonna see if this works. I know we are virtual, so if you all do have your phones with you, if you're not watching this on your phone, if you're able to take a screenshot of this, let me know. So I was trying to do a poll just to see how many of us use specific platforms. So if we're able to do that, if you can, I'm going to pull it up. If not, if you are watching this on your phone and you can't take the QR code, what I'm going to do is ask you which personal branding tools that you use. So I'm going to show you the options. So you can either vote directly through this poll, or you can type it into the chat. I hope the technology will cooperate with me. Okay, great. So these are the options. So I wanted to know, which personal branding tools do you use right now? So do you use a website? Do you use LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram? We have TikTok, Snapchat, and we also put in person. That also counts. Any in-person networking that you do, and then something else. So if you're not able to use this QR code, or if it's not working for you, just type the ones that you use in the chat. So I will say I use, let me see, I have a website, and I use LinkedIn. I also use Twitter occasionally, Facebook and Instagram, but I am most active on LinkedIn and Instagram right now. All right, so we have website, LinkedIn, Facebook, and in-person networking. Excellent. Let's see. Oh, someone made a comment earlier. Public speaking, you feel all eyes on every word you speak. Yes, yes, you do. It definitely takes a bold step to speak publicly, but we all can do it. Let's see. We have Instagram, website, LinkedIn, somewhat. Okay. And then we have website, Instagram, Facebook, professional newsletter, awesome, and LinkedIn. Great. All right, so it looks like most of us are using LinkedIn and website. Those seem to be the most common, and then we have a little bit of Instagram in here too. Excellent. Okay, great. Yeah, so we're gonna just be going through in the next few slides activities that are both online and offline that help to strengthen our personal brand. So in this age of social media, it's very, tempting to think that it is online only, but it's really a combination of both online and offline activities that really make our personal brand strong. All right, so what is changing about personal branding? What is changing? So, really, in today's society, our attention spans are getting shorter, not longer. The average attention span, and this is why I like to make these sessions as interactive as possible, even when it's virtual, because every 8 seconds, you're losing attention. Every 8 seconds, your brain is taking you away from what's happening right now and making you think about something else, especially if you're using your phone, if you have calls coming in, messages coming in, all those things. Social media especially has really contributed to us being a lot more distracted. A lot more distracted. So, why did I include this slide in here and this information? Because one of the indicators and one of the things that we have to do to build a strong personal brand is we have to keep showing up. So we have to show up regularly, we have to keep showing up, and we have to show up in a variety of different ways. So I love that everyone in the chat was listing multiple platforms. There was nobody who said, I'm only have a website and that's it. Everyone said, these are the different platforms that I have. These are the different platforms that I use. I do things in person as well as online. And so I'm sure even thinking about the people that you see or that you follow on social media, a lot of times you'll miss some of the things that they post, or you'll miss some of the things that they share, because the algorithm of social media does not make us see every single thing. It selects what it thinks is the things that we want to see. And so one of the things that I want to encourage all of us is that you don't have to worry about bothering people. You don't have to worry about bothering people, because there is so much happening in our world that people forget what you share with them right after you share it. So you can share the same message every single day, and if it's online, the same people will not see it every single day. So you don't have to worry about bothering people when you're sharing your message. All right, so what are the advantages of personal branding? And if you have more than the ones that I have here, feel free to type those in the chat. So one of the things that I've found personally in my personal brand journey is that, first of all, personal branding, as I said before, is leadership, and it shows leadership that appeals to people who are making decisions about people who they want to be in front of their audience. So, for example, when you say that you're an expert in a certain topic, or when you have a business that you want people to know about, what a lot of people will look for, especially if they're looking for people who as presenters or people to share with their audience, is they want to look for examples of things that you have done. And so if you're able to show how you have spoken, how you have presented in the past, or your knowledge or expertise in some way, or even if you're able to show an event that you've been at. So if you've exhibited a table at an event, or if you've hosted your own event, if you've brought people together, if you have gone live on social media, like those are all things that help decision makers to see, okay, I know that this person has expertise. And it's not just because they say they have expertise, they're actively showing what they are doing on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis. They're continuing to show up here. And so when you're continuing to show up in that way, that is one of the things that helps to make your personal brand strong. Personal branding helps you to highlight your talents and your strengths. And it really shows real time. We like to say real time receipts, right? Have you heard people say that? Like, people want to see your receipts. So basically that means that people don't just want to hear you say you're an expert in something or hear that you have a business. It's like, okay, that's great, but can we see some behind the scenes? Can we hear what your story was, how you got started? Can we see what you're doing in real time? Can you let us know about where you're going to be or where we can find you, how we can connect with you? Because now we are moving away from trusting in logos to trusting in people, right? So before, years ago, it used to always be kind of the brand was really attached to a company, right? So you think about big brands like Coca-Cola, Nike, Reebok, like all those things. Really, a lot of the strength of that was based on their logo by itself, right? But now we have moved into, in our modern digital age, now people are asking, okay, who are the leaders behind these brands? What types of decisions are they making? What value system do they have? And it's the same for us as small business owners. Consumers want to know, okay, it's great that you have this cleaning business. It's great that you have this real estate business. It's great that you're doing all these things, but what is the connection with me that I'm going to have, the connection that you're going to make with me that really draws me in and gets me even more excited about specifically purchasing from you? So it helps to build that sense of connection. All right, so the 3 core elements we're going to jump into today are vision, values, and visibility. So vision, values, and visibility, those have really become 3 key words for me in my personal brand journey. And so I want to go ahead and break these down. And we're going to do a couple of exercises to really think about these 3 elements and how they contribute to making our personal brand strong and taking it to the next level. All right, so vision. Vision is the first one. And vision, I define that as the ability to imagine what's possible even before it becomes reality. The ability to imagine what's possible even before it becomes reality. And I definitely will say, for those of us who are small business owners here, vision is probably a strong one for a lot of us, right? Because it's what keeps us going, right? It's what keeps us getting up every day, putting in the work, getting out there, spreading our message out there, because we see there is a vision that we have seen for ourselves that's possible. There's a vision that we want to create in the world. There's a vision that we want to achieve, and we see that our businesses are contributing to that in some way. So I want to ask you all, my slides are jumping. Okay, so I want to ask you all, I have a series of questions here, and I know we probably won't be able to get to all of them, but if there's a certain questions that you'd like to answer, any one of these, definitely feel free to type those in the chat, or even if you want to come off mute, you can do that. So when we're thinking about vision, this is what I want us to think about. So not only, the vision that we have for our businesses, but the vision that we have for ourselves as people. And so thinking about, who am I? When am I the most joyous, the most fulfilled? What do I want to be known for? And who do I want to be? And a lot of times these questions are really important for us to consider, especially as business owners, because sometimes we can get so attached to our businesses that we kind of put our personal loves, our personal hobbies, our personal, things that get us excited. Sometimes we lose a little bit of that in that daily grind, right? But it's really connecting back to those things and reminding ourselves of those things. Those are other ways that will help to draw new audiences to us. So thinking about just what do we want to be known for, and when are we the most joyous, the most fulfilled? So does anybody want to share any of those questions? So what do you want to be known for, who you are, or what makes you the most joyous and the most fulfilled? For me, I would definitely say something that makes me the most fulfilled is when I see business owners showing up in a new way. So taking a new step. So maybe if they've never gone live before on social media, seeing them take the step to do that. If they've never spoken at an event before, seeing them take this step to do that. If they have never written an article on LinkedIn, seeing them take the step to do that. So one of the things that really makes me fulfilled is just seeing people come to a new level of boldness in their personal brand journey. So does anyone else have anything to share about just vision, when you're the most fulfilled, and who you want to be?
Oh, hi, this is Peggy Murphy. I am the executive director for Women in Transition, and I also own Everything Turkey Food Truck. And I think that, I mean, you've said a lot so far in such a very short period of time about vision. Um, I've heard this thing before about, okay, it's how you show up. And so that's kind of like, that can be good, depending upon, what people, the perception or I guess the vibe that you are giving off when people meet you. But I've worked for 40 years, and even though I'm a young woman, I mean, I've always had a job or in some type of capacity. And so in this new era, you kind of got to show up and rebrand yourself into something that's just a little bit more different. Like my degree is in marketing, but it was a 1990s degree, right? So in this era today, it's like you have to understand these social platforms and how to use them. And that's just a whole different science. Like my grandchildren, they can show me how to use iPhone better than I know how to use iPhone. And they are really young, 5, 6, 7 years old. They walking around with tablets. So it's completely different. And my son tells me all the time, he's like, you're thinking about it wrong. I don't know. So I'm saying all that to say, like, I feel great when I'm creating something, whether it's cooking something or mentoring someone, any of those kind of things, like when I'm interacting and engaging, with someone. But being able to build a personal brand today, that's kind of different, for me. And I don't know, I'm just gonna be quiet and let somebody else say something, but I just um yeah, I think it takes a team to kind of get acclimated back into like what it means today. It's almost like retraining yourself. Is anybody feeling that, you know?
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Anyone else want to chime in on that? Awesome. Well, yes, I'm so glad that you brought up that point because I think that it's really it's worth digging into a little bit because it has, because of technology and social media and digital, a lot of the way that we express our personal brand has shifted, right? Because not only do we are we showing up in real life, we now have another way that we have to translate and communicate what we're doing, right? So it's like, yes, we're showing this up in real life, but now we also want to reach the audience who may not be in that environment or in that space. And so we're not only showing up and doing the things that we love and the things we enjoy, we're now also saying, okay, how can we capture this, either capturing it in real time or taking footage of it and shifting it over into another platform so that our audience who wasn't there live can also share in this as well. Or maybe in a situation like this, you may be in spaces where you can provide a live experience and a digital experience, right? And those were tools that, 15, 20 years ago, we didn't have. And now it's not only that the tools are here, right? But every month it seems like the tools we thought we knew were changing or there's some new tool that comes out, right? So it's just like, okay, what do we focus on? Are we focusing on, the everyday work and, the business and, showing up and being ourselves? Or do you want me to become a tech guru? Like which one do you want? So
And being real and authentic, not just,
yeah,
showing something that is like, oh, that looks great, da 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 da, but that's not really who you are, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so
Not
I
the
think
likes for having real stuff.
right, exactly. So I think one of the things that I have been seeing a shift in is kind of a shift away from having so much curation with your brand. And what I mean by curation is kind of like everything doesn't have to look like it's from a digital studio, right? Like people want to also see you just in real life. And so I think there is, a lot more room now for that authentic voice and that authentic, like before when Instagram first came out, it was like everything had to be, expertly designed, colors, logo, fonts, like all of that. And you still do see that, but there is now more room because people are just like, hey, all of this glitz and glam is great, but I really want to connect and let people know who I really am. So I think that we are entering a space now where there is more room for that than there was before. So definitely want to encourage everyone who is here now that you can show up and be yourself, so you don't have to feel like there is an Instagram you or a LinkedIn you and then the you in real life. So the goal is really to have those things aligning, so that this person that people see online is also the person they see in person. Let's see, we have some people in the chat. Let's see. Mina says she is most joyous when she helps people feel connected to each other or part of a community. I love that. All right. Lorraine says most joyous and fulfilled when doing what I like to do, serving others and seeing their gratitude and appreciation in what I have helped them with. Excellent. All right, Connie says, I am a child of God on a mission to care for his people, all people. I am most fulfilled when people are cared for properly, treated equally, or
And I
young.
gotta turn my mic on.
Wanted to be known for genuine quality care, no matter a person's circumstance. Bank health credit. I want to be the nurse God ordained me to be and CEO of a multi-million-dollar healthcare facility across the world, breaking healthcare barriers. That is awesome. Yes, I love these. I love these. So this is something that we can, if you're thinking about how to share your personal brand and how to translate that into an online space, the activities, the answers that you all are sharing today, those are quotes that you can share. So if you have put an answer in the chat, screenshot that, copy and paste it, remind yourself of those things that bring you the most joy, because that's something that could be an Instagram quote, it could be a tweet, it could be a LinkedIn article, you could share testimonials of people that you've helped. You could go live and do an interview with somebody that you've helped. So these are just ways that you can take that vision and then translate it digitally as well. Let's see, someone else says, I am, no, I'm going to try and pronounce this right. Luz Selenia, I believe. If that's not correct, let me know. Healer, sensualist, and creative. I am most joyous when I am creating spaces for joy, pleasure, and healing. I want to be known for being a light for other people on their healing journey to becoming authentic and radiant. I want to be an internationally recognized thought leader, author, and CEO of a multi-million-dollar and lifestyle brand for the spiritual and sensual. Wow. All right. So yeah, so these questions, just seeing the answers that have come up in the chat, the answers that have been shared, even audibly, it really helps you to dig into the why behind not only your business, but who you are as a person and what that vision is. So if you ever get to a point where you're just kind of stuck and you're just like, I don't know what to say today, I don't know what to write today, these types of questions can really help you to dig into that and can be inspiration for content. All right, so we're not going to be able to have time to get deep into this one because I want to make sure we get to the other two. But also thinking about your vision and thinking about where you were 5 years ago, today, and then next year where you want to be. So, how has your vision grown or changed? So, we're not going to be able to get deep into this one, but if you can put in the chat, if your vision has grown or changed since 5 years ago, so you can either say it's grown, it's changed, or it's stayed the same. So for me, my vision has definitely grown from the past 5 years to today. So I'm just curious to see, like, has your vision grown? Has it changed? Or has it stayed the same and you're just like, 5 years ago, I imagined where I would be right now, and I am moving forward in that. And I know that, the past few years have been huge shifts, probably for most of us with the pandemic, with the social unrest that's happened over the last 5 years. And it seems like it's continuing still in a lot of ways, unfortunately. But just thinking about that, the last 5 years to today. Let's see. So we have grown, definitely grown. My vision has grown and changed from residential facilities to commercial properties. All right. Grown and changed. Yes. So that's something else that you can do too, is just taking some time throughout the year. So I don't know if you all have, quarterly planning that you do for yourself and for your business, or, mid-year and end of year plans, but just thinking as you're going throughout the year, setting up those milestones to say, okay, where are we right now? And where am I in my business? Where am I personally? Where am I mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally? Am I where I want to be? And if not, what things do I need to change and shift in order to be more aligned? And those things contribute to our personal brand as well, because we can't show up for others in an authentic way if we are not healthy on all of those areas. So, and I know it's always a work in progress. We never reach perfection, right? But just taking time to check in with ourselves and thinking about what our vision was initially and how we're tracking against that. So any questions? I'm just going to pause for a second before we go to the next one, the next V. So any questions or comments on vision? Or does anyone have a vision exercise that you do, or a way that you check in with yourself throughout the year that you can share? All right, well, we can come back to that if anyone thinks of one. Let's see. Oh, someone says I check in with my vision board often. Yes, that's great. I'm glad you brought that up, Lorraine. So if there is anyone who does make vision boards, sometimes it's easy to make those at the beginning of the year, and then we just kind of put them away and keep it moving, right? But in order to make those visions a reality, we definitely want to keep them in places where we can see them and make sure that we're checking in so that we can see, are we still on track with this, or did something happen during the year that shifted what I wanted to do or changed what I wanted to do? Let's see. I create a new vision board each year. Yes, that's excellent. So I am actually still working on one of my vision boards. I actually think I created a vision board in 2021 that is almost complete. So I'm still checking back in with that one. Because I have a couple more things on that, and that will be complete. So I think the past 2 years, my vision's been pretty similar, but it's been really exciting to see those things actually getting checked off. Let's see. All right, awesome. Okay, so the next V we're going to talk about is values. So values, I define that as characteristics that you determine to be most important in your life. So characteristics that you determine to be most important in your life. So I know some of us shared these at the beginning, but if there's anyone who has joined in after our icebreaker if you can share just some values that you have for your own life. I know before we shared dependable, we shared reliable, we shared resourceful, helpful. Just what are those core values or characteristics that are most important for you? You can type those into the chat. Okay, awesome. So I have a couple of questions for this one as well. So what motivates me to do what I do? Why do I enjoy it? Why do I enjoy doing what I do? And you can even ask myself, am I enjoying this? Am I still enjoying this? Maybe I used to enjoy this, but I don't enjoy it as much anymore. So what things am I doing that I enjoy? And then if your vision has shifted, is that shift attached to one of your values? So I know a lot of us have put in the chat that our vision has grown and changed and expanded. I think that is excellent. And one of the questions that I would ask you to even ponder or consider as you're thinking about how your vision has grown and changed, what led to that growth? What led to that change? And hopefully you will be able to tie it back to one of your personal core values that you have, or just something that happened to you that made you decide, yes, I want to expand in this way, or I want to shift in this way. And I bring that up because sometimes in life, we can shift because of an external force, right? So there may be some economic factor or even a person in our circle who might have, challenged us or, made us think about something different. And so sometimes our visions can shift and change because it's not really something that we are truly aligned with or believe in. It's because we feel like there's some external force or external pressure that is leading us in a certain direction. So I think when we're talking about values and attaching that to our personal brand, it's really important to go back and having this reflection and asking ourselves, what is the motivation for what we're doing right now? And are we continuing to do the things that we desire to do or that bring us joy or that lead us toward our vision? Or has there been some kind of outside factor that has led to a shift or a change? And in these situations where it might be an outside factor, we can dig even further and say, okay, do I want to continue to go in this way? Or was this just a temporary shift that I needed to make for now, but then I can go back and do the thing that I, really ultimately want to do? So these are just some questions, reflection questions, digging a little bit further into our values. So does anybody have any comments, questions about that? Let's see, we have some values coming in through the chat. Kindness, love, and sharing. Honesty and authenticity. Yes. So thinking about those values and even again, figuring out how we can translate. It's like, how do you translate a personal value into a digital space, right? But I think that as you are showing up and as you are displaying those values internally, it can't help but to show up wherever you are, whether that is online or whether that is virtual or digitally. So thinking about, just things that motivate you, that help you to be honest, or why you think honesty is important, or examples of, what you have done because you want to be a person of honesty or a person of integrity. If you have any personal stories you can share. Kindness, love, and sharing. Maybe sharing a feel-good story about something that happened to you or something that happened to someone that you serve, or a way that you could serve clients in a new way, or maybe a new service or a new event or a new offering that you are bringing to your customers and to your potential customers, because those things are core values. If kindness is a value, maybe that is something that your business can do in some way, showing how your business is giving back to the community, or how you're partnering with a nonprofit or a community organization or foundation in some way to show that you're giving back. So these are ways that you can take your values and translate that into what you're doing in your business every day and show that both online and offline. All right, I'm going to pause for a second before we go to the next slide. I think the next one is visibility. Yes, okay. So anything to share before we move to the final V? All right, awesome. Okay, so the final V is visibility. So visibility is letting yourself be seen, and we have talked about showing up online and offline, and that is really the way that we have to operate now, is we are doing both of those things. So we're showing up in our everyday spaces, and then we're also translating that into online spaces as well. And I really love Oprah Winfrey's quote, never let anyone dim your light. So we've talked about our vision, we've talked about our personal values, and so now we're talking about how we can intentionally showcase those things as we're showing up on a regular basis. All right, so questions for visibility is we really want to dig into, where do I show up? So thinking about where we show up now. So I know in the chat we talked about, we showed all of the different tools and different platforms that we use. So whether it's our website, LinkedIn, our social media accounts, where do we show up? So I really want to ask ourselves to think about, and even now, if you're in a space where you're able to look at any of your social media accounts or look at your platforms, definitely feel free to look at those and say, okay, where do I show up? Am I showing up consistently here? Do I have a cadence or a pattern for how I'm showing up? Or is it just kind of like, okay, if I feel like it, I'll show up here. Then if I don't, then I just don't really show up as much. So that's one thing to think about. Then thinking about, what are you saying in your platforms? What are you saying in your online spaces? What are you saying in your offline spaces? And what are you showing to people? Okay. And so the question that you want to ask yourself is this aligned with who I am and where I want to go next? And one of the things that is really good to think about when you're talking about your online space is really, which are the online spaces where you're going to show your business journey, and then are there spaces that are going to show a little bit more of your personality, or are you doing a little bit of a mix of both? So like my Instagram platform right now, I know I don't have the resources to dedicate to running a business Instagram and a personal, right? So right now I have merged mine into one. And so I do a little bit of both. So I show what's going on in my business, and then I show a little bit of personal, I show a little bit of behind the scenes. So that is a way that that I show up, especially at least on my Instagram account. I do a little bit of both. But then when it's on LinkedIn, I show a lot more of my business and my communications expertise on LinkedIn. So just thinking about all of the platforms where you are and thinking, am I using these in the best way? Or, is there something that I can do to take this to the next level? Are people, through just looking at my platforms, can they tell what I do? Can they tell what I'm an expert in? Can they tell the values that I have, and how am I showing that? So talking about visibility journey, there are definitely things that we can do both online and offline. So if you have any other ideas or suggestions for ways that we can show up offline, definitely feel free to put those into the chat. So these different suggestions are just ways that I have thought about and used in my own visibility journey that are offline ways that we can showcase our personal brand. So it can be in-person networking, you can speak at a conference, host an event, do some kind of personal engagement offline just with other people, right? And also your personal style. So these are all offline ways that you can grow your personal brand. So does anyone do these things? Is there anyone who hosts events, who participates in events, who speaks at conferences, does webinars? Is there anyone who has like a signature style that you always use? I'd love to hear about that. Let's see. Rakia says community service events have been a great way for me to extend my brand. Yes. So giving back, showing up in the community where you are, definitely shows that you are committed to the community and giving back. And then it also allows your name to be top of mind and your business to be top of mind, because people remember that you're not just about promoting what you're doing, but you are also active and truly passionate about the community that you serve. Yes, that's an excellent suggestion. All right, so when we're talking about online, online are definitely your website. I know a lot of people said that you have websites. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. There's more coming into the chat. Let's see. Host events, speaking and hosting a podcast. Yes, podcast is definitely a great way. Podcast, I would definitely consider that to be an online way for to strengthen your personal brand, because people hear that digitally. But actually, there also are people, sometimes they host live podcasts as well. So I don't know if maybe that is what you're talking about, because that's an offline way really a way to do a little bit of both, because you can record a podcast episode through a live event. So that's another idea that you can do a little of both. And my personal style is sexy and vibrant. Yes, that's excellent. So if you have a vibrant personal style, thinking about that, when I show up online or when I show up to events, am I wearing bright colors or am I wearing black and gray, right? So if I see someone in black and gray all the time, it's like, okay, I wouldn't necessarily link the vibrancy to their personal brand. But if I know that every time I see them, they're going to be wearing some pop of color, that helps to bring the strength of that even more. Let's see, Connie says, physically showing up in the community. Yes, as a medical professional, although my business is assisted living, I hold free CPR classes for parents and children. I reach out to young men in the neighborhoods and show them life-saving techniques, basic CPR just in case. Their lifestyle is theirs to choose. The least I can do is show them how to save each other. Yes, providing services in the community is excellent. If there is a way that you can provide free trainings, free classes, free resources to people, especially if you are in the medical field, I think that's amazing, because you definitely could literally be saving someone's life by showing them those techniques. That's excellent. All right. So yes, definitely feel free to keep populating some answers in the chat. So the next thing we're going to go into is just online ways that you can share your personal brand and be visible. So we talked about your website. So going back to your website and looking to see if it's updated. So I know sometimes it's so easy to be so excited that you put your website up, but then you look back and next thing you know, it's 5 years and you might not have looked at your website, right? Because you were focusing on, maybe your social media or other things that you have going on in your business. So really looking at your website and looking to see, is it current? Is it up to date? Are you adding things to it? Are you attracting people? Are there things that are attracting people to your website? Then also going live on social media, I talked about that. So going live to share your expertise. So people like to see what you post, but we're also attracted to each other through what we share and what we say. Like even in this virtual chat, right? Like I'm learning that there are so many of us in the chat who are service-based, who are community-oriented, who, value kindness and service and honesty. Like that is all coming across because of the things that we're sharing, the words that we're using, the examples that we're using. So these are ways that you can go on live and share those stories. So Connie, I don't know if that's a part of your personal brand at all, but I would love to see a live or a video or something like just showing one of the transformations that you've been able to bring, or like the service that you've been able to bring, and even the importance of knowing about CPR so that you can save someone's life, and where you can maybe go to learn about those things, or to learn those techniques. So I don't know if you do that now, but I think that would be excellent to do if you're not doing that already. Then another way that we can be visible online is through LinkedIn articles and videos. And there's also, you can go live on LinkedIn now as well. So, and I don't know if you all have seen people who go live recently, but now when you go live, if you go to someone's profile when they're doing their live, that live actually shows right up on their profile page. It's really cool to see. So if someone is doing a live, when you go to their profile, they will be animated. You will be able to see them animated in real time doing that live. Let's see. Lorraine says, yes, I just recently did a web scan to see where I need to update some things. It's a reality check. Yes, for sure. I have been there as well. I actually am in the process of doing some newer things with my site. So yes, it is a reality check. Sometimes it's so easy to just kind of set it and forget it, especially if you don't have a blog or something on there. Or maybe if you do have a blog and you're like, hey, I blogged 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and I kind of got away from that. Blogging is definitely still valuable because it allows you to be able to tell your story on your own platform. So yes, you definitely want to go back and give your website an audit. All right, so we talked about LinkedIn articles and videos. Another thing that you can do is one of my favorite spaces is media. So you can actually pitch expert tips to a local news show or a podcast, and you do not have to be a social media influencer in order to do that. You don't have to be a celebrity in order to do that. You just have to be someone who is in the community, who has tips and expertise to share, and have examples to show of you doing that, and you can pitch to a local news show or to a podcast. And then the final thing that you can do is also seek contributor opportunities or op-ed opportunities. So if there are any writers in the chat, definitely you want to make sure that you take advantage of that opportunity. So there are publications, both local and national, who are actually looking for expert contributors. So for example, if you have read Fast Company or Business Insider, those are examples of media outlets who look for guest contributors, and you can actually get paid for submitting your articles to them, your expert articles to them. I believe it was last year, one of the clients who we worked with, there was an author who had a book that came out last year, and we actually were able to take some items and some things that she talked about in her book and submit her for an op-ed. And so she was actually able to get paid for some of the insights that she had shared in her book. So that is another opportunity for the writers in the room, that you can actually submit yourself as a contributor or write an op-ed. Let's see. Lou Selenia says that I've been going live on all of my social media every day since May 1st, doing it for 14 days. Yes, that's excellent. I've actually been going live every weekday. So I think I missed one day. I missed Tuesday because I was in meetings like all day. But last week I went live every single day, Monday through Friday. And so I'm actually going to be going live after I get off here. So yes, going live on your social media is excellent. And I know sometimes it definitely takes some intentionality and some planning to do that, but it definitely does help to build your momentum and build your expertise and help people to know who you are and just feel a connection to you. So even people who might not be able to travel to where you are, might not be able to meet you for a live event, they can connect with you through social media. I found that's been a huge benefit for networking and growing my brand. Let's see. Connie says, God bless y'all. As a nursing student, I can barely get a post up. Yes, I fit them in sometimes, but it's been a while on social media. Yes. So Connie, you know what? You probably are one of the people that I would recommend to do what's called batch creation, and it does take a little bit of advanced planning, but just thinking about, things that you would want to share and figuring out how you can schedule it in advance and kind of know in advance what it is, so that you don't have to do that day-to-day posting, because on a day-to-day basis, that's almost a recipe that you're going to miss it, or you're not going to feel like it because life happens, right? So one of the things that I'm even working to do is to be more intentional about knowing what I want to say. So some people, there are people who schedule content months in advance. So you might not be there yet, but maybe even thinking about for the week, right? So maybe a Saturday or a Sunday, you're taking a couple hours and saying, all right, what do I want to post this week? Just Monday through Friday, what do I want to post? And so if you already kind of have that in your mind, you can have some things drafted, you can have some ideas, so that when you're not waking up thinking, ooh, I have to post today. Ooh, I didn't post. What do I need to do? Because if you're trying to think about it, then think about how you want it to look, and then something's going to happen, and it's probably going to throw you off schedule. So just getting a little bit ahead. And then once you're in the habit of planning for the week, then maybe you can try for 2 weeks and say, all right, I'm going to try 2 weeks now. So maybe I'll do 10 days instead of 5, so you can just build up that way. And before you know it, you could post maybe a month in advance. And then that also gives you some room to adjust. So if, for example, one of the things that I always like to be sensitive to is things that are happening in the news and in the world, right? So if something happens in the world, you're like, okay, maybe I want to hold this post off, or maybe I want to post something different instead, but it still gives you kind of that framework so that you're not going completely from scratch every single time. Awesome. Glad that was helpful. Okay, great. All right, so visibility myth. Visibility myth is that I need to be an influencer in order to attract media opportunities. I know for me, before I started in public relations and media work, I used to think that. I used to think that you had to be a celebrity in order to get media opportunities, but that is not true at all. Especially now, one of the advantages of social media is that there are media professionals who are also looking online. They're looking online for experts. They're looking online for sources. And one of the examples that I like to share is that value is greater than volume. So value is more important than volume. So what I mean by that is that the value that you have to share is more important than the number of followers that you have. So you don't have to have 10K, 20K, all of that. You don't have to have that. If you have that, that's great, and that is excellent. And you definitely want to continue to build your following, but you don't have to wait until you get there in order to start sharing your expertise. So this is an example of a TV interview that I did a couple years ago because there was a television producer, who started following me on Instagram. And I had no idea they were following me until I realized I had actually started going live more and talking about different media tips and strategies. And the producer started following me and actually sent me a message asking me if I wanted to be on to talk about personal branding. And at the time, I think I had just over 1,000 followers on Instagram. So definitely not influencer level at all. But the producers was watching what I was doing and said, hey, would you like to come and talk about personal branding? And so a lot of the things that are in this presentation today, I shared a short version of that on in my interview. So I just like to show that because I like to encourage people that you do not have to be an influencer in order to get opportunities in the media. All right, so a couple of questions to think about when you are looking at your visibility plan. So looking at what platforms you use, what you say, what you show, and is it aligned with who I am and where I want to go next. So I think I showed that slide before, but just wanted to bring it back in case anyone needed to see those questions again. All right, so the final activity we're going to talk about is a monthly brand audit. A monthly brand audit. So thinking about along with when you're planning and thinking about your content or thinking about your goals, your business goals for the month, one of the other things that I would like to encourage you to do is a monthly brand audit. So thinking about your vision. So vision, have my actions this month led me closer to or further away from my goals? So have my actions led me closer to or further away from my goals? And think about ways that you can measure that. So for me, one of the ways that I measure that is, am I getting more inquiries about my services? Are more people asking me questions? Are more people engaging with my post? Are they engaging because they like my outfit that day? Or are they asking me a question about public relations or personal branding? So thinking about those things and seeing what activities in the month influence certain questions and certain following and certain engagement. Then thinking about values. So have I shown up in ways that reflect my personal value system? So even thinking about the types of people who I'm engaging with and the types of people who are following me, the audience that I'm building, do they resonate with the values that I have? Do they resonate with the values that I share? And so, I mean, everyone that follows you does not have to have the same values as you, but basically just thinking about, are you putting your values out into the world so that people can see that and see who you are from a values perspective. And then the last one, visibility. So how have I shown my expertise this month, both in an online space and in an offline space? So these are just questions that you can ask yourself as part of a monthly brand audit. All right, so finally, those are all the slides that I have. So I just wanted to encourage you all to celebrate who you are, embrace your expertise, and own your brilliance. So if you have any questions, I know we have a little bit more time. So if you have any questions, I definitely would love to answer those. And if there is anyone who has a specific question about your social media platforms, I also am able to take those questions as well. All right, well, if there are no additional questions, I will turn it back over to David.
Hey, thank you, Samantha. That was great. A lot of good information. I really appreciate it. I thank everyone for attending. I hope you were able to learn something or obtain something or create a vision going forward now. I will give Bonnie an opportunity to close out if she would like.
Oh, yes, I did not share my contact information. Hold on one second. All right. So but finally, I want to ask you all to think one step that you can take to strengthen your personal brand and take it to the next level. And if you would like to follow me, this is all of my contact information. So I am mostly on Instagram and LinkedIn. So my Instagram is Samantha Publicist. My LinkedIn is Samantha E. McCoy, so you can just look up my name. And I do have YouTube. I haven't been on there. People are asking me to get back on, so I may. So you can follow me there as well. Let me see. Someone said, do I need to worry about the number of followers? No, you don't have to worry about the number of followers. Like, followers are a vanity metric, which means it helps your ego feels good, but in the grand scheme of things, you don't have to be like an influencer. Now, what you do want to measure, though, you do want to see if your followers are growing over time. So you do want to track that, but it doesn't have to be like a certain rate every single time. But you do want to track maybe every quarter or so and saying, am I getting new followers or not. Because if you're not getting any new followers, then you might want to switch up your strategy so that you're attracting new people. But other than that, you definitely don't have to worry about the number of followers you have.
Samantha, that was a great presentation. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody who joined. There was a lot of participation through the chat room, and that's always makes everything fun. So we appreciate that a lot. The webinar, Melissa's here. She can correct me if I'm saying it wrong. But this, the slideshow, the recording should be available to the folks who registered on Eventbrite. You'll get an email with the recording on there. So you'll be able to go back and refer to it. And just FYI, I did it with my phone, and scanning my phone to my screen to your presentation, you know, of this, whatchamacallit. What do you call it, David?
The QR code?
Yeah, the QR code. Just went right out of my head. Totally worked, by the way, so you know.
Awesome, great, thank you so much. Yes, and I also, if you're able to either scan this one, or if not, I can give you, Bonnie and David, the link. I would love to get you all's feedback. And if for everyone who does answer the questions in the surveys, just a few questions, I think 4 or so, I will enter you into a raffle to get a free 30-minute consultation with me. So anyone who fills that out, surveys really help me to make sure that I am providing effective presentations. And when I do this next time, I'll have some things to take into consideration for the next audience. So thank you all so much.
Great job. Thank you.
Amanda, thanks everybody.
Have a great day. Thank you.